Welcome to Tales from the Streets.
Here's what our narrator has to say. Relationships can be funny, but for me, when I'm done with you, that's it. No going back. I understand if some people can't get over their exes. Different strokes, I guess. I met Eunice years before she got married to the man who is now her ex. We lived on the same street and generally had the same friends. We were friends but not close pals. I was even at her wedding that time. And at that time too, I was also engaged to another woman when Eunice got married. Eunice and I, like I said earlier, grew up in the same neighborhood, had about the same friends because we went to the same secondary school in the area, though different universities. And we often ran into one another when mutual friends had events that we were both invited to. So we were kind of, friends. But after a while, I lost contact with her and even with many of our mutual friends. A few years ago, I reconnected with one of our mutual friends, and over beer and suya, we exchanged stories about the people we both knew, what they were doing at that time, what was going on in their lives. Eunice's story came up. She had 3 children but had a bitter divorce from her husband, who was said to have left her, and had 3 children for one of the young ladies working for him. The Eunice I knew was very timid, but I heard she was doing well and ran her own business. She had a superstore. I felt bad for Eunice because I knew the pain of divorce. I had also been through divorce that year. I had just one child with his mother. But she moved him abroad, just to make sure I wouldn't be able to have access to my boy. I hope that someday my boy will come looking for me. Anyway, that's how I reconnected with Eunice. Our mutual friend gave me her number. I called her just to say hello. There was no feelings for her then. I just wanted to reach out. A few months after I contacted her, I ran into her at the mall in Ikeja, ICM. She hadn't changed much, a little bulky, After 3 children, that should happen, I guess. But she was still the same person, with the same great personality. We sat down at one of the restaurants in the mall and chatted about our mutual friends and promised to be in touch. We did, and that's how we began an affair. Maybe because we were 2 lonely hearts. Maybe because we eventually admitted we were kind of secret admirers of one another, but just didn't know what to do with our feelings since we were both involved with other people at that time. Anyway, ours was also because we felt comfortable with one another. We knew the same set of people, had the same set of background, so it was easy, I guess, to fall in love. She told me I made her laugh again. She told me how her husband began an affair with his junior staff that eventually led him to moving out of their house. But that was 3 years before I reunited with her again, and with divorce done, she felt alive again to move on with her life. But there was her ex-husband, who though had remarried, began to raise dust when he found she was involved with me. Eunice said he called her one day telling her he had been told she was seen with a man at functions. That was me. At events our mutual friends invited us to, and at other places I wanted to take her to. We had nothing to hide, so I went everywhere I could with her. Her ex-husband then began to threaten to take his children from her, telling her he didn't want his children influenced by a stranger. He threatened to stop paying their school fees if she continued seeing me. This was clearly blackmail. At some point, he began to visit anytime I was around. I suspect someone on Eunice's street must have been an informant because the guy had come storming into the apartment 3 different occasions that I was there. He told Eunice to walk me out, which I dutifully did because he paid the rent. Now, yes, this was quite embarrassing for me and Eunice, but honestly, if she hadn't begged me to leave, I would have stayed to see what he was going to do. This woman is divorced from you, and even if you pay rent, which you are doing for your children's sake, shouldn't their mother have a life? So you ask me, why didn't I pay rent for Eunice and her kids? We weren't married yet. Secondly, if I did, let's even assume she will move into the place or move in with me. What of her children? According to her, though I think it's bullshit, she said her ex has a lot of influence and may take her children away from her or stop paying their fees. One of them is studying abroad. The remaining two go to posh schools, which their father pays for. So now, am I supposed to take up financial responsibilities for a man just because I am bedding his ex-wife? I didn't want to create any upset, but I was ready to be financially responsible for the kids. While I may not be able to pay for the one abroad, I was willing to support my girlfriend with paying the kids for the kids here, posh school or not. I just felt the ex is a selfish human being. He is with a younger woman who has 2 small children for him and yet prevents his ex-wife from moving on with her life. Anyway, his presence in our relationship began to put a strain on us. It was like a monitoring spirit, so bad that we cut off several occasions to meet. I told Eunice she should call his bluff and either move in with me or visit my place more often. But she had 2 youngsters under her care, so coming to spend nights with me was out of question. Though we stayed away from one another, we were constantly on the phone together. But I'm a grown man in my early 50s. I have no time to waste. I like the woman. She's divorced. And so am I. What else is left? I wasn't going to let go just because some idiot was being mean. So I visited her one day just to talk things out. I told myself this is no phone talk. At her place, I saw her ex's car outside. I wanted to go back, but I told myself, oh my boy, this guy divorced this woman. You have a right to be here, Jerry. So I went up to the apartment. Mr. Ex-husband was dusting off a plate of pounded yam and egusi soup. Not cool. You know, for me, this was wrong on many levels. He's a married man. This apartment may have been paid for him, but if I were his wife, I would be upset he's cozying up with his ex, regardless of what still binds them. I didn't know food was the only thing he had been coming to get from my girlfriend. You know, I got there, sat down, and told myself I'll be here till he leaves. He finished his food, generally acted like the man of the house, and on his way out, told Eunice, loud enough for me to hear, I will bring a repairman to fix the bedroom AC. It isn't cooling well, even after 1 hour. How have you been managing it? He made it clear he'd been in her room for 1 hour. When he left, I asked Eunice, what exactly is going on? She had nothing tangible to say. A 47-year-old woman talking nonsense about how her ex-husband's wife had cheated on her with her husband and how she's taking her own revenge. This killed the love I had for her. I told her I was done. If she wanted to go back to her ex, she was free to. But I assured her, once he finds me gone, you will lose your attraction to him. Guess what her reply was? He says he wants to come back to me. His wife has a boyfriend, much younger than him, and he is sorry for leaving us in the first place. So where do I feature here? What happened to more than 8 months of fun relationship? What happens to me? Come, what happens to his wife? That was when I said to myself, oh my boy, what are you doing with this one? Move on with your life.
If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.